Okay, y'all, so let's talk about this. So, I am doing a part 2 to this whole Chris Mannix, Mauricio Sulaiman interview. It goes deeper than just Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis. And the thing with Keyshawn and Shakur is, once again, they're sitting here playing the whole, I'm going to let somebody else eat my food game. If I tell you, and this is why I say when people say things, their ego speaks louder than their common sense. I know that if I care about people viewing me as the best fighter in the world, the greatest of all time, or whatever it may be, right? Listen to this stupid shit Roy Jones is talking about. Shakur ain't never ducked nobody. You know what I'm saying? He better than Floyd. Better than Floyd, right? Yeah, fuck out of here. He's not skill-wise. I don't see him as being better than Floyd. Fuck no. He's a good fighter, and to this generation, he's one of the best out there. Better than Floyd? Fuck no. Roy Jones, no, Roy Jones is so full of shit. Roy Jones no better than that bullshit. And here is a guy in Shakur Stevenson that was making all this noise, constantly talking about how he want to fight Devin Haney. Devin Haney's ducking, all this stupid shit. Remember Shakur went to some party or something and had a sign up? Some shit he said, trying to, clout chase on Devin. And at the end of the fucking day, how the fuck are you sitting up here calling yourself the greatest fighter right now? Or you want to go down as the greatest of all time, or what and you're over here ducking smoke. You pass it off like as if Devin is not on your level, but he's on Keyshawn's level. I'm gonna let little bro fight him. What you mean you're gonna let little bro fight? So you're gonna step aside and pass up the opportunity. But yet Roy Jones claimed you never duck no smoke. Man, these dudes is clowns, man. They're fucking clowns. When it comes to shit like this, I don't respect that. I like Shakur as a fighter. Okay, I like Keyshawn as a fighter. All right, but as a real fucking stand-up man, they're not smart businessmen. They calling themselves businessmen, but yet you're giving up fights. Nah, man. Nah. And this is where I gotta say, hey, Keyshawn, you the homie and all that, but we gonna have to do this. This is why I say, don't be friends with people that's in your weight class. And if you're gonna play that we're friends game and so we're not gonna fight, hell, Maurice Block and Simon Brown were best friends and they went in there and fought and shit, and Simon Brown ended up knocking Maurice Block out. And they were best friends. Not I met him at the gym last year, we just clicked and became friends all of a sudden. We can't fight because we became friends. Man, I always said, plain and simple, in business, I don't trust anybody. I'm just telling you, because the motherfuckers you think is really in your corner be the biggest haters, the biggest backstabbers. So anyways, that's my thing with them is, they're just making bad, stupid decisions. And I know that they think that it has to be a pale skin opponent for it to be a mega fight. I know that's what their thinking is. I don't need Tank Davis, but I just want to fight him, right? I don't need this guy, that guy, but hey, fuck it. See, this is the attitude of I'm a star now. Yeah, I just beat Teofimo, so I'm solidified. That's the same bullshit mentality that Teo had when he beat fucking Lomachenko. Y'all just don't get it. These dudes don't have that fighter's mentality, man. It's honestly, this is that generation that can dish it out but can't take it. This is that generation where motherfuckers are really scared to go to war, and when they do, it's just a sloppy fight and everything goes out the window. And it's usually the biggest wars are not by the top level fighters. It's guys you think is top level till they get in there with a guy like Shakur or somebody and they pick them apart. And it's like, that's what you reduce to. Because the guys that are on your level, somehow you don't need them. So yeah, I got to fight a Pitbull Cruz. I got to fight somebody like that and get the recognition. Then it got to be a Ryan or a Teo. Okay, you just showed everybody that your black ass is way better than Teo. And y'all not going to give that same nod to Devin Haney like Devin Haney. Come on, man, stop. It's not like you did more in the sport than he did. You're undefeated still. But you understand what I'm saying? Come on. Anyways, this is where they are, and that's that. Now, as far as Mauricio Sulaiman go, See, Chris Mannix was asking him the right questions, and he was piling it on him. Had Mauricio in his feelings, talking about you judge me. You didn't give me a chance to answer. Nah, you are answering, but you're dancing around shit. And not only that, it doesn't matter what points you make. Mauricio and his partners in the WBC organization is not going to see what they're doing is wrong. You know, even like he brought up the fact of, now Chris Mannix said he was kind of on Mauricio's side when it came to Crawford, because it was like Crawford wanted his cake and eat it too, right? But at the same time, and that's his business what he thinks on that. But when I listened to the whole interview, because like I said, what I saw was actually chopped and put together where they took key parts out. And it just made it seem like Terrence Crawford already knew what the deal was, but then just decided, nah, fuck it, I changed my mind. Nah, he had already agreed what amounts he was going to pay. Every other sanctioning body accepted that. But Mauricio felt like they needed more. And he's talking about $300,000 with Crawford. So Mauricio even said when fighters are making hundreds of thousands, when they're making, $1 million or something like that, then whatever, 500,000, they don't say that. It's when they make like 10 million, when they start making, then they complain. Yeah, because it's like the more they make, the more you want to take. Of course. It's like when you go to the bank, right? And let's say you want the money to go straight to the account, and they have that option, depending on what the amount is of your check, the increase goes, it increases depending on what you make. So in other words, let's say if you make $2,000 a week or some shit, right? And you want that check to go straight through, right? You know what I'm talking about. You pull up to the bank and you want that they used to call it fast, whatever the fuck. Well, I don't even know what the hell. Every bank is different, I guess. But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. So let's say if it's you want this to go through right now, right? And let's say they charge you like $18 and some change for you to process it the same day, like right then and there. Not wait till the next day, right then and there, right? Now let's say your next check is $2,500. Now all of a sudden they want $25 for you to, so that's the same thing. That's the same shit. They just, the more you make, the more that's on that check, the more they take out. And it's like, nah, man. He's talking about how they made adjustments. They've always worked with fighters. The main thing with that whole thing is, yeah, you're saying this about the rules and everything, Mauricio, but we've seen you show, favoritism to certain fighters. Or you were far more tolerant with other fighters, regardless of what was being said behind the scenes. And, I mean, come on, man. It was the same thing when Dillian White, was the mandatory for a whole fucking year, man. For the longest time. And then Mauricio, out of his own mouth, said that he was the mandatory. Then he turns around and says, being number one contender doesn't necessarily make you mandatory. And no, Mauricio, you said it already, that Dillian White was the mandatory. See, this is the type of things that I'm saying. And then yet, even if somebody's the mandatory, why do they have to take fighters to court to fight them? Again, no structure to this shit. And then he's trying to make it seem as everything he's doing is justified. But then he goes, yes, we make mistakes. But, well, hey, man, you playing with a lot of money. You playing with the way people feed themselves. You shouldn't make a bunch of mistakes. You shouldn't make no mistakes at all. You understand? You can make a bad judgment call that you thought was a good idea. But, I mean, maybe you trusted in the guy. You went the route with someone that you thought was promising. I mean, there's different things we can use an example. But, as far as you just making mistakes, well, when do you admit to them? Because every time anybody talks to him, he never admits to being wrong. And I told y'all, I said, I'm not praising him. I said, I don't praise anybody. I said, but the whole him canceling Ryan Garcia from all WBC events, like he can't fight for WBC title. I told y'all, I said, yeah, that was the right call, but at any minute he can change that. Now notice, Ryan Garcia is back in the rankings. And what did he say? He made excuses to talk about how Ryan, him being there, because of his skill set and all that. Now notice how he didn't mention anything about the ban, right? Now here's the thing. If Mauricio wanted to do the right thing, let's compare. You protected Canelo from Dimitri Bivol. And your excuse, everything is they got to put in writing, and so you want him to put in writing that he's against the war, blah, 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 and that doesn't guarantee shit. That doesn't guarantee anything. You clearly did everything in your power to protect Canelo from Beevil, and that's why you don't do follow-ups, because your follow-ups will be debunked, it will be challenged, and people will make the truth known of what actually happened. And you kept him away. Everybody knows Canelo gets what Canelo wants. So if Canelo wanted Beevil, that fight would have been made. You and Canelo both didn't want Beevil. And remember, and Chris Mannix brought up the fact that how after he lost to Beevil, Mauricio was the first one saying that, yo, he thinks Canelo need to go back down to middleweight and stay at middleweight. He ain't even talking about 168. He's talking about 160. Because he feel like, yo, man, he don't want anybody to have any advantages over Canelo. And the funny thing is, Canelo says that's his comfortable weight, 168. He's unbeatable at 168. And that's what his fans say. And you wouldn't let that fight happen. Now, I don't give a fuck, war, whatever it was. It had nothing to do with Dimitri Bivol. That was, you know, the rulers over there in their country. They're the ones who set that up. What they got to do with Dimitri Bivol? But you didn't say, hey, listen, Ryan, we don't promote racism. We don't condone it. And what you did was completely wrong. Now, if you want to compete in anything involving the WBC, the same way you made that disrespect, that video, you need to make one equally as long apologizing. You need to apologize to everybody you insulted. You insulted a whole race of people, right? Remember Roy Jones a couple of weeks ago? He's sitting up there telling Andre Ward that if Teofimo would have said that to him, he told him to suck his dick, they'd been fighting right then and there, right? Right, but notice how he never got into the racism shit. Notice how he won't address the real shit, the only things that involve you and your ego. Right? See, Roy want people to still think that he's the same Roy he always was, right? Oh, I don't care. I'll fight anybody. I don't get time. I'm always bullshit. Say what you will, but at the end of the fucking day, y'all don't talk about shit that's worth a damn. All this comparison, trying to tear fighters down, who would have won this, that fantasy match, just a bunch of bullshit, nothing special. And I'm being honest with you, Andre Ward's show was a lot better before Roy came on. I'm just being real with you. Roy coming on that show, I don't know what the catering is about, but the show felt more authentic, and it was more one-on-one about the fighters coming on. Roy don't add nothing to that shit that I care about, man. Or most people. A lot of people are like, yo, Roy always talking stupid shit. You see, the more people talk, see, when they get cheered for some shit, they seem to forget, man, people turn on you or get sick of your shit because people glaze you. Hall of Famer, this, that, and the third, right? And people are like, man, you know what? This dude is always hating and talking stupid, man. God damn, every time he opens his mouth, he keeps bringing Floyd up. Okay. Now, going on, he brought up so many different things. He talked about, we talked about the heavyweight scene and everything. See, understand this. Mauricio is always going to have, even when it makes no sense, he's going to have an excuse to try to counter your question and act like, you don't need to talk for 15 minutes straight to make a fucking simple point. These guys that we know that they pick who they want. We know they pick who they want. And when you look and say, now, even with the franchise championship, right, Canelo still had to go out and win. But at the same time, we're talking about a guy who was not fighting the very best of the top guys. And this is why, even like, as far as Jamal Charlo, I don't know where his head is. I don't know what's going on with the Charlos. But because they've just been extremely quiet and fight once every 2 years or some shit or whatever. But when people say, they talk about super fights for Canelo. See, super fights. He beat Jamal Charlo. Can we say for sure he beats Jamal Charlo? That's not how we decide who wins fights. We decide that when we get a winner. Jamal might bust Canelo's ass in there. Okay? Jamal is not Jamel. Let's stop getting this shit twisted. So that's how you figure it out. Now, here's my thing. Let's say they're doing all of this fucking talking about a suitable opponent for Canelo. And they make it sound like Canelo's undefeated. And the truth of the matter is, Jamal is. And let's say that they just decide, let's go with Jamal. They don't think Jamal is in the right headspace or whatever. And then say they fight and then Jamal beats Canelo. What's all that talk about a suitable opponent? No, what they mean is a big mega money fight. As easy as Crawford beat him, why would this second fight be a big mega money fight? It's not like it was a close fight. It came down to the wire. It could have went anywhere. It was never that. He just got dominated. Now, Of course, Mauricio is not going to admit that he showed favoritism to certain fighters. But at the same time, I can tell you, when you look at who's who, like him, like look at the rankings. Who's who in the ranking systems? You got Manny Pacquiao ranked. Out of nowhere, Ryan Garcia ranks, right? And you got people who haven't done shit, but they're ranked. He has Conor Benn ranked very highly, right? He's talking about how Conor Benn went up in weight and be the bigger guy, right? Okay. Chris Eubanks Jr. is a decent fighter. I don't even really consider him good, but decent. I consider Conor at the smaller weights good. He's between decent and good. But the performance that they had in the first fight, where Chris Eubanks had to dig down deep, he was drained, obviously, dehydrated badly, everything, right? Motherfucker toenail came off and shit. All right, the motherfucker was drained. Now, do you think, just let's not forget all the things Eddie Hearn was saying about those type of fights take years off your life. He doesn't want his fighter in those kind of fights again. Remember that. So, you know factually, doesn't matter that Shakur stood there and said that he wanted to fight him. Now, give me that same rehydration clause that you had, right? So, he never said a catch weight. He just said, give me the same rehydration clause that you gave Chris Eubanks Jr., right? Conor's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. And you want to know what he don't want to say? Oh, you're trying to drain me. Well, damn. That's exactly what the fuck you did to Chris Eubanks Jr. So he don't want to admit that. He don't want to admit he needed an advantage to get a win. Of course not. But all of this basically comes down to people being ranked in the WBC who has done nothing to get there. What has Ryan done? Ryan lost his last fight. How the fuck he gets ranked up high? How you find yourself in a title shot? And this is one of the things Chris Mannix pointed out, is that it should be fair. He asked him, do you think that fighters should be ranked based on them earning it? And oh, absolutely. But that's not the case, because these dudes are being ranked based on namesake, which is exactly why, even though Deontay Wilder lost to Joseph Parker, who did Turkey Al-Sheikh even call out to say he was trying to give Deontay Wilder a title shot at Bridgerweight? They kept, no matter what, but Joseph Parker is left in the dark. Even Derek Chisora, that guy's a pussy. He's boring. These guys are pussy. Nobody care about Joseph Parker, man. Okay, so when I tell you guys, it's not based off what you earn. It's based off of popularity. And then Mauricio brought up Sugar Ray Leonard was retired for years and he came back and he fought Marvin Hagler. Okay, here's the thing, right? Is it fair to the other fighters that's out there grinding, that's out here earning those shots? No. Did it hurt boxing in that sense? Did it hurt boxing? You know, and bottom line is, he came back and fought the number one ranked fighter in the world at the time. And did he skip the line because of namesake? Yes. So what am I telling you? No, it wasn't fair to the other fighters. No, but it happened. Doesn't mean that it's fair. Okay? And they happen to put on a hell of a fucking fight. But you got to also understand, when you start saying, bringing up, making comparisons, that really means you know this shit is not right. But you're going to make the comparison between those two because it was rated as one of the greatest fights ever, and to make the point. Okay, so what does that mean? Nobody's complaining about Ray Leonard versus Leonard. Doesn't matter what people are complaining about. If it's about right from wrong, you're not worried about somebody else's complaint or non-complaint. You're more focused on, I'm making sure I keep my nose clean and run my business properly. You know, case in point, they're going to always, these sanctioning bodies, they're always going to defend what they do. You know, he's talking about he should come out they see how the ranking systems work and how much he'll learn about what they do. Man, no. It still doesn't matter. If I'm undisputed champion and I say, hey, listen, this is what I'm willing to pay for a sanctioning fee. The IBF, the WBO, WBA, they all say that's fair. But the WBC go, no, I want way more. Right? He talked about how fighters think they don't need the promoters and all that. Listen here, man. if two fighters can eat, I don't give a fuck that you help get them. You made a lot of money off of these people. You're rich off of these fighters. They make it seem like they do everything for the fighters, and the only people that benefit is the fighters. Comedians are learning that shit. That hey, stop using agents. Some of them they might not know how to negotiate, and they're not sharp business wise. So they'll use an agent, but a lot of them get to the point where I don't know how many, but I do know I heard several comedians now they learn that shit. That stop using agents. These agents are taking so much of your damn money. All right, book your own shows. Get together, get a team of comedians that you're going to go on the road with. Stop using agents. When fighters get together and don't use the promoters because they feel like, hey, nah, it more than likely is because these two fighters want to fight, but maybe one of them or even both of them don't have the type of popularity that these organizations want them to have. The powers that be want them to have, or maybe they don't think that people will come out. And then all of a sudden, because like Keyshawn Davis, the fact that they were able to get 10,000 people to come out to watch them, and basically none of these guys are considered superstars in boxing, but they got 10,000 people to come out and watch them fight, which means people probably before that was thinking this shit gonna flop. Ain't nobody coming to this shit. And look at what happened. And they also feel like if they've helped your career, that you're like indebted to them. You owe them. Man, this is business. And the thing is this, when people within the business decide to pass you by because you no longer have it, these motherfuckers can be 75 years, 80 years, 90, if they however long, and still be promoting fights. Your ass can't fight till you 60, 70, 80. You know what I'm saying? You can't fight that damn long. So with or without you, they're going forward. And then how you eat, how you pay your bills, how you take care of yourself, that has nothing to do with them anymore. So all the things that they say that they use the money for to help different fighters and pay other fighters, whatever, we hear that, but at the same time, you do pick and choose. It's not like you call it down the middle every time. No, you do pick and choose. You do show favoritism, and fighters do get the nod due to popularity, not because they earned it. And this is where I'm looking at Keyshawn. I'm looking at Shakur. I'm gonna tell you, man, how crazy this is what I mean about black fighters, man. If I'm in that mix, I want to reach out and talk to Devin. I want to reach out and talk to Shakur, Keyshawn at the same time. We need to start promoting each other and pushing each other to where, because every fighter is a brand. But we push it to where we're making moves and we are beating the top fighters out there, right? And we're going to fight each other. I'm not talking about building no stable like y'all fighting anybody except for each other. No, I'm saying we need to start bringing people on. We need to start getting the fighters on the card that we want on the card and get to the point where we're pushing these fighters, male and female, and we're pushing each other. And if these fighters now, if it's a situation where people don't think we can draw, they think that it has to be one of us against a pale-skinned person, well, you know what we can do? We can headline. Now, here's the thing. Devin Haney's not even in the same weight class as Shakur, right? So they can put shit together where all these fighters are benefiting. Kamel Moulton, all these different guys, man. And when you look at it, it's the same thing that the Mexican fighters do. It's the same thing that they do for other fighters like that, excuse me, when you hear that this person has a whole country behind them or whatever, no matter who else they put on there, they make sure, like, in other words, let's say if the headline is a Mexican fighter, right? And the main event, the attraction, is a Mexican fighter. Even if both of them aren't, you better believe every other fight going to be a Mexican. And even though the fans might not know them, they're going to cheer for them because, hey, oh, he's from Mexico too. Okay, cool. And this is the shit I'm saying. Y'all are sitting here playing games, man. Y'all should already have y'all hit list together. And the crazy thing is, because this is how I look at it. You go out and let's say if Haney, no matter who wins, let's book another card and put everybody on this card. We help build each other. We help rebuild each other. Okay? If you don't understand right by now, they don't care about you. He even said if he doesn't want to be the WBC champion, that's fine. Don't fight for the WBC title, then he doesn't have to. It's fine. They don't care. And Mauricio Sulaiman kept saying, it's not about the money. You make it about money. It's not about it is about the money. You can't sit here and say it's about anything else. You can't say it's about principles. When we've seen you cushion. You cushioned Tyson Fury. And that motherfucker never had a mandatory the entire time he fought. Only voluntary on fights. You didn't make him fight anybody. How the fuck Francis Ngannou get in the picture? All of this shit that goes on, even stuff that didn't have anything to do with Turkey, Mauricio, even if it was just Turkey, the whole point with him holding that WBC, that's Mauricio as well. What I'm saying is, you see the same dirty tactics all across the board when people want to show favoritism. Tyson Fury is a victim of the times because nobody wanted to fight Tyson Fury. Bullshit that nobody wanted to fight Tyson Fury. See, the problem with these sanctioning bodies, with these powers that be, is they're always going to have some bullshit response. They have what they consider the right answer to counter every question, right? The problem, though, is this. The fighters will get promised shit. They go out, they have these little dinners and shit or whatever, and I don't know if all expenses is paid for whatever the hell they do. I don't know and I don't care. And these fighters sit there with their fingers crossed, right? Hoping for some promise, of being, getting their title shots granted. Being in the position of, hey, man, this guy said I get the shot and I got it, and I believe him until they don't get it. Look at how many fighters, right, have been told they were going to get certain shots, right? They've been told that this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Then it doesn't. You've heard it all the time. How many fighters have left a division because things are not going the way they wanted to go, right? Even Teofimo Race's ass sitting there talking about he'd never get a fair shake. And hey, if ESPN want all these black fighters, they can have them. And so there's always something going on in boxing, right? But for Mauricio to sit here and play dumb and act as if he doesn't see what's wrong and what he's doing, that just goes to show you, like I tell you guys, they are going to always put business first, even if it means they're robbing you and they know they're robbing you. And I'll also say this. If Mauricio Sulaiman, let's put his theory to test. Let's say what they have on paperwork, right? Nobody's denying that. But if it's about his way, it's just like Chris Mannix said. Then yeah, guys would be fighting like, okay, you're the mandatory and number one contender. But if we follow everything out how it is on paper, you'll be fighting this guy in 2 years' time. Although right now, you're in position to fight him. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so that would explain why the fighters are saying they want to fight each other. And it's like I tell you guys all the time. There are many people involved in boxing, and they tell fighters, look, you don't need this fight, man. Look, why don't you fight this guy? You guys don't think that this shit happens? Like I always tell you in those Rocky movies, it's not so much the fights in the ring, it's the shit that they're telling you outside of the ring. Rock, those guys are all bums, Rock. Bums, Rock. Yeah, you think that part is just the movie? The fakest part about the whole movie is the fights. They're telling you this. I know this shit happens. You don't need this fight. Look, we'll give you this guy, bring you back, get the win, get some momentum. You see and hear this type of shit all the time. It's for some reason when it comes to actual boxing, it's like people don't think that this shit happens. Yes, it happens often. And here's my thing, right? Beating someone at a catch weight doesn't solidify shit. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody putting a fight together so two guys can go at it at a fair weight where neither guy is suffering is one thing. That's one thing. But even in that sense, right, there's no such thing as a catchweight champion. This is why when people agree to the catchweight is because, okay, cool, I can make it. When Chris Eubanks Jr. is telling you, I haven't fought at this weight in a long time, and telling you he's going to be about 60%, and Connor's getting pissed off because he know that the truth is, yeah, we're trying to drain you, bro. I don't care if you're 10%. As long as I win, that's all I care about. Okay, let's look at women's boxing, for example. Let's look at some things. Notice something, right? Look who Jake Paul is. Do you ever hear Alicia Baumgartner talk about fighting any other woman in the sport of boxing and asking for a catch weight, or asking for them to come down much smaller or come up from a, or she's going to drop down to match them, their weight or whatever? No, just one person. Now let's take Christy Martin and Layla Ali. Now, we're not going to make any excuses for Christy Martin getting her little ass whooped. She the one was talking shit to Layla and said that Layla was doing nothing but living off of her father's name and she wanted to shut her mouth, right? But you know what Christy did? She came up to fight at Layla's weight. Now, was it the smartest move? You can say yes and no. Yes, because if you want to prove this shit, that you better than her and all these things you saying, yeah. No, because it turns out that you wasn't. And that reality did slap you in the face that she is too big and strong. But not only that, she overall had the skill set to beat your ass too. But you know what Christy Martin didn't do? Let's have a rematch at a catch weight. Or let's have a rematch, but you come down in weight. No, she just took her ass whooping and that was that. So the excuses don't change anything. We are in an era now where, let's just think about this shit. If Clarissa Shields just use her, let's let ego get involved, and she go down all the way down to 147 and she ain't fought at that weight in so damn long. She ain't even started that weight. You understand what I'm saying? As a pro. So we talking 147 pounds. You don't think that the Jake Pauls of the world and other people in her team is going, yeah, man, try to drain her as much as you possibly can. And hey, if she agreed to it, that's on her. But hey, that's your advantage. You know that she'll be drained, won't be at full strength, and hey, we got to make her fight more than she want to, and drain her out even more. And the effects will bother her during the fight. Okay, and all the advantages is at that point in your favor. Of course, they tell them stuff like that. So let's not try to make it seem like, and that's what he does. Mauricio Suleiman tries to make it seem like the WBC is just a squeaky clean organization that does no sideways shit, but we all can see it. And this is why, again, I look at the Shakurs, I look at the fucking Keyshawns, and see, here's the thing. They all know, and Terrence Crawford talks to Shakur. You know that these guys communicate about things that go, you know this. You know what a normal conversation sounds like. So they know that these sanctioning bodies are corrupt. They know that they're corrupt. But what amazes me is how nobody seems to know how to put their heads together, get together, and let's make this shit work in our favor. Where there's a demand for you, people will spend money to watch a fight. They will spend money, whether it's coming out, buying a ticket, ordering it, streaming it, whatever the hell. They will show interest. And this is what these guys need to be doing. And even without doing all of that, you guys need to be, look, like I said, this is why it's good Bill Haney said what he said in front of a camera. Because Keyshawn claimed he want that fight next so bad. But then he starts talking about fighting the British guy. Shakur talked all of this shit. And again, since he's beaten Teofimo, the head swell now. Now all of a sudden he doesn't need Devin. Come on, man. It's stupid. It's really stupid, man. We know that there's favoritism. We know that a more popular fighter can bump a fighter who's been fighting and earned the spot, but due to, it's a bigger fight if you fight him. No different. The fans are the same way. The fans are the same way. Because I remember even back when it was time for, look, people want to act like they don't remember this, but I remember when Devin Haney, was wanted to fight Lomachenko. Okay, he was Lomachenko's mandatory, and Lomachenko decided he wanted to go and fight someone else instead of, Devin. So they start calling him the email champion. Why? Because Okay, it was set that they were supposed to do this. He didn't honor that. He accepted that franchise bullshit. So he let go of the WBC, vacated it. Now, if you're going to call Devin an email champion, what kind of champion was Lomachenko at that point? Because he let the belt go. To accept the belt, you can't lose. You can't win it. You can't defend it. It's given to you. It's an honor to have you as our invisible champion, our invisible belt champion. So this is how all that transpired. But people want to act like they don't remember. It's politics. It's politics. So when he goes and he fights Teofimo, people are going, oh man, he didn't fight Devin because he went on to a bigger, better fight. Oh, is that what you call it? And how do we know that Teofimo is a bigger, better fight? Well, Teo got a bigger name. Okay. We see how the fight went. The rematch between them never happened. And bottom line, George Kambosos came in and he beats Teofimo. Now people was talking about Kambosos should fight Lomachenko. That's a bigger fight than a bigger and a better fight than against Devin Haney, who's still the WBC champion. Then he goes and not once but twice beats the brakes off of Kambosos over in his country. Okay, and the funny thing about that is, after he beat him, they tried every way they possibly could to take credit away from Devin Haney. And Devin was out there calling out these so-called contenders, but they didn't want to fight him. So when we look at boxing and see all the politics, we know what's going on. I think by now everybody know you can't trust the word that Mauricio Suleiman says. And it's out of every organization, the WBC is always the one with some scandalous shit. Just like some incredibly stupid stuff that have the simplest solutions, but it's like, nope, we got to just do things the hard way over here. Hey, picture this. You're fighting and you're beating contender after contender after contender, and every contender you fight is better than the last one, and you're going higher up in the rankings. And now here's a guy that can come in and just take your spot because this guy, has a bigger following, but doesn't mean he's a better fighter than you. And you take a back seat, and you keep taking back seats. Worst thing can happen is that you actually lose to someone, because that's going to be your excuse to not get what you deserved. You've earned that title shot, but you keep fighting the tough fighters. Why? The people that they're protecting and cushioning isn't fighting those caliber of fighters. And nobody has the right to sit up and dictate somebody else's money. Mauricio is greedy, man. He's very greedy, and he's asking for more money than all the other organizations. And for the fighters to say no, even Chris Mannix is saying like that's way too much money. Come on, man, you asking Shakur for $120,000, and he's talking about that how they make adjustments if the person say this is what I'm making and blah blah blah. Man, stop it. If you had the fighter's best interest at mind, let me put it to you this way too. They could already have it set. If for the sanctioning body, if you make this amount, then this is the percentage we take. If you make this amount, this is the percentage we take, right? And so forth. Therefore, now it's contracted. So they know ahead of time, okay, I made XYZ, this is what the taxes are. Look at what just happened to Anthony Joshua. He got taxed here and over in the UK. Goddamn, for one fight. So the politics is there. And for him to talk about it's not about money. Motherfucker, every fighter want to get paid. It's always about money. And it's about money to you too. That's why you keep making all these little fake trophy belts and you're lining your pockets with all of this shit. And people pay sanctioning fees. We know this. And this is what makes Mauricio look so bad. It's because Mauricio tries to make it seem as though everything should be understandable as to why they do what they do. And like there's no corruption. No, there is WBC corruption. I think every sanctioning body probably at some point does some corrupt shit. But the WBC is on top of the list. Every single time you turn around, there's something going on. Look at what like they couldn't wait to strip Crawford and tell him he owes him an apology and all that. And man, y'all wanna you wanna take part in putting certain fights together. Like I said, you're making money too. But if they can tell you or make you think that everything you have is because of me, like I didn't benefit from it, you did. No, everybody's benefiting financially. All you guys are benefiting, and the sad part about everything that I'm saying right now is the fact that people know. Like, they actually know that this is true, but the fighters will stay silent. So the fighters that do speak up, oh, they're troublemakers. Or they're not cooperating. They're not being professional. Nobody wants to get robbed. Nobody wants to make a ton of money and then lose half of it. It just doesn't add up, man. It just doesn't add up. And even when they make like way more than what you're asking for, right? It's still the fact that why are you asking for so much money? And why are these fighters getting paid so little? If you're doing all this to pay the fighters and like all of what you said, and why is this? Because we already know the rest of the card get paid by the main event. We know how it goes. We know how it goes, and this is why Turki Al-Sheikh has got his involvement is helping people to get paid way more. But he wants to act like, you know, Chris Mannix is just attacking him for no reason, like he doesn't understand what's happening. Bro, even to not be in full disclosure, you're asking for way too much. And in closing, I'm going to say, Keyshawn and Shakur, all the shit y'all been talking all these years, you can't prove to be the best fighter in the world. You definitely ain't going to be no all-time great. I don't give a fuck what everybody else say. People can say what they want by passing up opponents. Top-level opponents. The best opponents out there for you. In worst-case scenario, you send, you claim you're going to let, Keyshawn going to fight him, but Keyshawn talking about fighting somebody else. Worst-case scenario, what if Keyshawn fights somebody else and lose to that person and never make it to Devin Haney? Then what? You don't let big fights pass you, man. And this is one of the reasons why this generation sucks so bad, because not only are you guys being pimped and hold around, but you guys yourselves are allowing other fighters to fight your fights for you. But then you have to explain to people why you're the best and why we should think you are. I don't care about all that anyway. But this is like business-wise, like I said, boxing has no structure to it. And people just feel like any type of energy, any type of numbers or money that you can help generate in the sport will be tolerated because, hey, we all getting paid. And as long as we making money, just be quiet. This is why I say when you look at certain fighters, though, and these fighters, like look at Conor Benn's resume and who he fought. Look at Chris Eubank's resume and who he fought. And they both tell you they're rich. They got plenty of money. They don't even need to box anymore. They don't even have to. They got everything they want, all the money in the world. And who are these top level guys that they beating up on? Who are these great champions? Like, who are these people? And that's the thing what I'm saying. These guys is always about money. And they're all about wanting material shit. So, again, it's bad when the sanctioning bodies are doing corrupt shit. It's bad when the fighters feel like, I don't even have to fight this guy. I'm still going to make money. And you can't get the best fighters to fight the best fighters. So all this, you have to put it in writing. You have to make a request. You have to do this. You have to do that. I'm not even really on this whole thing about the stripping of the belt. Because like I say, he can't even honestly say he was stripped. He's saying that the belt was vacated. Nah, you Shakur didn't vacate the belt. He was stripped. It's like somebody telling you either retire or get fired. You understand what I mean? You gave the options. They couldn't choose add a third option. No, it was either one or the other. Either way, you won't be a part of this company anymore. And this is where, if you just listen to Mauricio Suleiman, man, he's convinced that his corrupt ways are not corrupt. Because he keeps saying it's in writing. So what? The most about that you can say is if the fighters are aware of these things. Well, we know damn well that they're not in full disclosure about everything. Everything don't happen the second that, okay, you guys come with this, my fee is going to be this and that. Well, why is your fee so high? Nobody else is asking for no 300 fucking thousand. They're not asking, nobody else is asking for 120 million. Why, I mean, 120,000. Why are you asking for so much? So, people always run their mouth. Oh, man, but that ain't nothing. He should... No. It should be reasonable. Nobody... So, in other words, the more money that you want to make, right, as a fighter, here comes somebody trying to take more of your money just because of the amount that you make. But then, too, who wants to make all this money and not get their money? Here's a motherfucker. You're not taking punches to the face. You're not getting hit in your fucking ribs. You're not risking your life, but you want so much money from these guys, man. Like, this is crazy, man. It's crazy. And like I said, look at how short the lifespan of a boxer is as far as their careers go. Shit, if somebody fight for 20 fucking years, man, shit, you still not even fully legal yet. You got a whole nother year to go to be 21 to be able to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? So, end of the day, there's WBC corruption. Mauricio Suleiman is in denial about it. And these fighters better stop playing games with their career. But that immaturity. So you can call yourself the businessman, and clearly you're not. You think you are, but look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. Your business mindset is flawed. You guys should be fighting each other. You guys should be fighting Devin Haney. I don't know what the hell story is with Tank Davis, but it's just too many games going on. And there's no need for Devin Haney to talk a bunch of shit because he doesn't do that anyway. Just wait and see what happens. But both of you guys claim you want to fight him so bad. But both of you are talking about doing something else now. Doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, I said what I said.